Hello and welcome to a new edition of True Audiofiles. My name is Jim Carter, and this week, by popular demand, or at least somewhat popular demand, I was asked to review the Tom Petty 9 LP Super Deluxe box set, or I guess, yeah, Super Deluxe box set of Wildflowers and all the rest. So, basically, a little bit of a background on this. But actually, before I get too far into this, I just wanted to make a point to show you what I purchased today. A little lighter than normal because of tomorrow being the third installment of Record Store Day. And I plan on doing another video for that when I get my stuff back from the record store. So, all right, back to Wildflowers and all the rest. So, basically, they released, I don't know, there's probably 4 or 5 different versions of this Wildflowers reissue. There was just the standard Wildflowers album. Then there was Wildflowers and all the rests, which basically was, I believe it's 10 songs that were originally slated to be on the record that he cut by the request of Warner Brothers, because they did not want to have a long 2 LP or 2 CD set. Sort of sounds familiar, kind of like what they did with Prince and Sign of the Times, but Prince wanted a 3 CD record set. But anyways, and then there is a deluxe version, which basically includes Wildflowers, the all the rest section, home recordings of the some of the songs on the album, and then there's a live version or live recordings as well. Now, on that one, it's either a 7 LP set or a 4 CD set. The last kind of ultimate edition, which was basically only available on Tom Petty's site and at independent record stores, was either this 9 LP set that I have right here. Again, show it to you. This is the front. And on the back, basically shows you all the different, if I can hold it up steady and correctly, and basically shows you all the different songs that are part of this and all the different chapters, if you will, of the box set. So, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on the insides of it as well. But basically, that included an additional 1 CD or 2 LPs of basically alternate versions of the songs that are on Wildflowers. So I chose this one just because I want to get as many different versions of the songs as I can. That way I can kind of pick out and choose the ones that I like the best. So let's kind of go through an unboxing of it, if you will. There's not really a whole lot to unbox. I would say, you know, the biggest parts, well, I mean, I'll show you basically when you open up. It's kind of a multiple gatefold. There's a picture on the inside, but then, you know, all the records are basically in these things, kind of like an old school record binder, if you will. But basically all of them, they all look the same. They're all black vinyl. Then the other one additional piece that it gives you, which I really do like quite a bit, is the book. Basically the book here, I have not had a chance, quite honestly, to go through all of it yet, but there's a whole bunch of different pictures and letters that were written, and some stories behind the music. And I look forward to actually spending a little bit more time. There's some really cool artwork in here as well, which I think that all the rest one is actually part of the 3 LP set, which is kind of cool. But anyway, hardcover. Again, some more cool artwork for it. And, you know, it was pretty well done. I really liked it. All right, one thing I actually forgot to mention, so I wanted to come back and re-record this, or I should say add this right after I made the recording, because one thing I left out that I harp on a lot, but I want to harp on it again because it's something that's a big pet peeve of mine on these Super Deluxe box sets, and that is, not only did this not come with high resolution digital download card. It didn't come with any download card at all. So basically, you don't get a digital version with this box set. And considering how much you paid for it, I think that's unacceptable. So that's one of the disappointments that I had about this box set, is no digital download, not even an MP3 digital download of the album, which, in my opinion, you're spending that kind of money on a 9 LP box set. It should have a digital download card, and it should have a high-res download card, because they are available as downloads. At least, most of the music is available that you can purchase on, high-resolution download sites like Qobuz and HD Tracks. But again, big drawback, big disappointment on this one is that it didn't come with a download card. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. So in terms of the album itself, or I should say the box sets off the 9 LPs, I did go through all of them. I did listen to them all. In fairness, here, I will be giving my review of the sound quality, but I don't have either an original version of Wildflowers or even any of the reissues that were done to compare it to it. So I can't honestly give a straight out comparison. That's why this isn't called a sound quality shootout, because the only thing I had to compare it to was the 2014 remaster in high-res digital. So the only other way you could have gotten that version of it was if you bought the box set of the Volume 2 of Tom Petty box set, if you will. They had 2 box sets that came out back in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, where they had basically Volume 1 and Volume 2 of all of his records or albums that he made that they put back out on record. And in this particular case, what I've learned is a couple of things. First thing is, apparently the original record was mastered from a digital file. I don't know the actual resolution. I want to say it was only a 16-bit, near CD quality transfer. So it was digitally, as a digital file that they cut to record for the mid-90s original release. I believe it was 2 records set still. So, but then there's a little bit of confusion, because I thought that the only next time that it came out was in that box set from 2015 or 2016, where they actually took it from the original analog tape and cut to the vinyl. And, from all accounts that I've heard, feedback I've heard, that it was just an awesome reissue, that they did a spectacular job. And if it's like the digital file and the digital files of all of his albums, because I have some of the remastered and reissued vinyl, and I also have all of them as digital files, and those all sounded great. Tom Petty basically was there supervising the remastering and making sure that they weren't dynamically crushed, and that they just kind of had a good feel of what was done when they recorded it in the studio. So when it comes to this one, this is basically done in a similar fashion. At least the album proper, Wildflowers, was cut from the original analog tapes. My understanding is it's a new cut done by the same person, Chris Bellman, at Bernie Grundman Studios, but it is a new cut of the analog masters. Supposedly, he thought he could improve upon what was done in 2015, 2016. So my understanding and my assumption is the rest of the box set, the other 7 records, were cut from digital files, probably high-resolution digital files, but digital files nonetheless, just because the compiling of those would have required, literally compiling different tapes together to create one file or one master, and doing that through an analog means was, number one, a lot more expensive, and number two, would add more noise to the final project. So doing them digitally in high res was my assumption, because that's usually how most Tom Petty stuff is done, is in high resolution, and then cut to vinyl would produce a very good result, cleaner, less hiss result. Now you can question whether you should buy a digital file cut to analog, being record, but that's neither here nor there. That's a personal preference, and to each his own on that one. So, in my opinion, I think it sounds phenomenal. It was pressed well. It was pressed in, I think it's like New Zealand or I don't remember now where it was pressed, but it was not in your traditional spot. And I don't know the pressing plant that was used in this, so I can't really answer for you where they were pressed. Maybe someone can help me out with that one and let me know. The pressings were pretty good. I wouldn't say they were great. They were close to audiophile level, if you want to classify it as that. They were pretty quiet overall. A little bit more surface noise than what I would expect out of an audiophile recording, but given that this isn't technically an audiophile labeled recording, then it's better than just about most other non-audiophile pressings. The one gripe that I would have besides that little bit more surface noise than you'd normally get is I got on probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 of the 18 sides, there was a lot of extra surface noise at the very end of the album or very end of the side. Sometimes it affected the last song of the side, but in many cases it came in right after the last song, so it really didn't affect the listening experience on the tracks themselves. So minor gripe on that. They are all pressed and looked very clean. It's hard to show on video or else I'd do it, but I did have a little bit of a scare on it because one of the records I think it was right before I cleaned it, I flipped it, and as I flipped it, I scratched it a little bit, but fortunately, it was a very minor surface scratch and didn't affect the play at all, thank God, because it's a very expensive box set that I didn't want to ruin because I accidentally scratched one side of one of the 9 records. So, but overall, if I were to give it a rating in terms of content, the content's great. I mean, all the home recordings, I was actually very impressed with the sound quality of the home recordings and the alternate versions, because it's obvious when you listen to those that they were done, that Tom Petty obviously had a high quality recording studio at his house, and because it sounded like a regular studio recording, not like your home studio, like you'd have a mic in front of you and you just start playing. It was studio quality, studio level sounding recordings on both the home recordings and all the alternate versions, which I think some of the alternate versions were probably home recordings as well, but I don't quote me on that because I don't know for sure. So for content, I think it was great. It's hard to compare it to Sign of the Times by Prince just because that one was just so massive and there were so many unreleased tracks on that one. I think there were a total of, I don't know, 65 or 40, something like that. I think it was 40, 45 studio recordings and then another 20, live ones or whatever. But, and with this one, there's basically 10 songs that I guess some of them have been previously released because he did put some of them onto a soundtrack later. But then, but then you've got the live stuff, which is like 14 tracks that are live, and I want to say that those mostly, if not all, are previously unreleased. So, there's maybe 20, 25 songs that are previously unreleased on this compared to the 65 on the Prince one. So it's not a fair comparison, but the content that's on here is really good, and more importantly, or just as important, is the sound quality is really good, and you could really tell that they took the time to master these well and cut these records well to make sure that they sounded very good. So content-wise, if I were to give it a number score, 1 through 10, 10 being best, 1 being not so good. Content, I'd say maybe, 7 or 8. Sound quality, I would definitely put it up there as a 8 or a 9. The only dig that I would give it is I would have preferred to have a little bit more low mid-range to upper bass frequencies in there. It seemed like a little scooped out in that area. But, sound stage was good, and the cutting was done really well. I don't remember hearing any sibilance at all, which was great. So the box set itself, in terms of its design, I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of the design. The book is cool, and it's got some great information in it. I would prefer more of a slipcase like the Sign of the Times one had, where there's a little bit more protection for the records and a little bit, I don't know, in my opinion, it seems like a higher quality construction. But, I think aesthetically, in terms of aesthetics, it's definitely a cool aesthetic, but I don't know, I just don't feel there's much protection because, you've got the records exposed right there, so not a big fan of that, but overall, I'm really pleased with the sound quality of it and the pressing quality, and basically the information that's in there, including the book. There's cool artwork inside of the book, things on that nature. So that's my review and unboxing of Tom Petty, Wildflowers, and all the rest. I would really love to hear your take. Do you have the 9 LP or 5 CD super deluxe version, or do you have at least maybe a deluxe version of it? I'd love to hear your take and what your thoughts are on it. Overall, from everything that I've kind of read on social media and other places, is that it was pretty well received overall. I mean, it's a classic album that really deserved a box set like this, so I'm really glad they did it. And but I want to hear your take. If you liked what you saw here, please like my video, and subscribe to my channel if you really like this, and check out some of my other videos that I've made. And if you want to know when my new videos come out, please hit that alert bell, and that'll let you know when my new videos come out. So I'll probably be making another video that will be released on either Saturday night or Sunday for Record Store Day, third installment for October of 2020. So besides that, that's it for this recording. So thank you very much, and you have a great day.